have a question. I work in the neighborhood, and it's something that is bothering me for the longest while. During the height of the coronavirus stuff, the cemetery was closed.
Correct. The problem is that during the month of April, we did 58 burials. Most of them were coronavirus victims. So the family members were coming, and so there was a chance that regular people could be contaminated because of cross-contamination. We couldn't have visitors in here because we couldn't take care of the bathrooms, cleaning everything, safe for the visitor. And we may have to shut again in the fall if it increases again. That order comes from the state. We have no control over that. So
again, I just ride by every day, and I was like, shouldn't the cemetery be busy like that?
We do about 12 burials a month here. We did 58 in April.
But your gates were closed.
But the funerals were coming in. I opened the gates for the funerals only, and the families for the funerals, and we closed them behind us. And so we were here working every day. We're doing 3 or 4 burials a day, but no visitors. No visitors. You were
hiding then?
No visitors.
I didn't see any activity at all.
We were horrendous.
All right, that was my question.
No, I see what you're saying. No. We were here. The gates were closed. There was no visitation allowed through the month of April and most of May. We shut down right after St. Patrick's Day. Only funerals. And people coming in, let's say they had to pick a grave for somebody that died, I would meet them and they would be escorted in. But the burials were only like the limousine, maybe 3 or 4 family members, because that's all we were allowing.
Oh, because I mean, I passed by in the morning and the evening, and it was just shut down completely.
No.
I never saw any activity.
We were here. We were here. It was horrendous. But we were doing as many burials as we could. Then we were leaving for the day because we had no lunch. We were working in other cemeteries. Sometimes we left here at 12. We went to Gate of Heaven in Westchester, and they were doing 40, 50 a day over there. It was ridiculous. So
how do you handle a contaminated body like that, man?
What happens is the person's embalmed, so it's safe. But the problem is, for example, you're on your motor with your bike here. If people are touching this also, family members, they may not show symptoms, but they were exposed if their father or mother or their brother or sister died. They're touching the casket. They're touching the casket. They're in the cars. So we have to be careful that contamination is on the casket. It's with the family. So we have that very straight rules. And you have to be respectful to the family. You don't want to see me wiping down the casket with bleach. Exactly. It's disrespectful. So we always had a way of getting around it to make sure we show respect to the families, but still protecting my workers. Because
so I live in Manhattan, and I went down to Chinatown because when it was shut down, I went around. I mean, it was really weird to see Manhattan there. So Chinatown especially, you would think, do you know there's a street in Chinatown, Mulberry Street?
Chinatown pretty good.
Completely
Canal
dead.
Street, dead.
No, Mulberry Street is all funeral homes. And they were all shut up. They weren't doing any business.
No, they were. It's
in the height.
They were doing operation. Now it was, you know what it was? Everything had to look like it was shut down, but it wasn't. Everything had to be escorted.
So that was it?
There was no wakes. No wakes. A lot of the funeral homes were storing the remains off-site in refrigeration units, and that's how it was working. It was a very low-key situation. There was no wakes allowed. Families were not even allowed in the funeral home. What I ended up doing at one point was setting up a table right in that crypt there for the funeral directors, because sometimes they would have to sit with the family members and do all the paperwork for the funeral, sign all the documents while we were doing the burial. I've never seen anything like that. 36 years I've been with this business, and I've never experienced anything like that.
How did you get into this business?
I just cutting grass when I was in high school. And then college, cutting grass, making money. And they offered me a chance to stay on. I took it. And I trained from the field. Did every job, from digging graves to monuments to foundation to running the heavy equipment. And then I moved up to management. So. And we had to take this cemetery over from the local church because the parish couldn't handle the finances of running a cemetery anymore. So we're the trustees of St. Patrick's. We're part of the Archdiocese, but we're a little different. So we came in here a few years ago, and my job was to try to get this place back up and cleaned up, and she did a lot of renovation work too.
So where are the coronavirus?
They're all over the place. All over the place. You got to realize there's a lot of elderly people from Portchester, especially older Italians, older Portuguese. And a lot of them died from complications of, meaning they had liver problems, they had cancer, they had, respiratory problems. Then they got the virus, and the virus just pushed that.
Because in Manhattan, I would go to places like Bellevue, Mount Sinai, NYU Langone, just to see what was going on. And when I speak to nurses and stuff, I said, are you guys overwhelmed in there? And they said, no, we're not. But when you look at the news,
oh yeah, when the news is, I don't believe anything either. I don't believe everything either.
And that's why I said, let me come and ask these people here, because you were shut down.
We were told to shut down by the government, and so we followed whatever the rules were that were in place. We're not immune to that, like meaning that we can just do what we want.
Right.
So, but we were busy with a lot. Like I said, we did more than 40 more a month than we normally do. And so, like this week, I have 3 funerals. That's a normal. Not till 12. 12 is so. But one thing I can say is that of all the employees for us, there's 4 or 5 cemeteries. Only one person got a virus, and that happened from going to a St. Patrick's Day celebration. Had nothing to do with us at work. We protected our workers, we protected our building. Even now we're open, but every morning we have to clean the whole building. All the handrails, all the bathrooms, all the door handles, everything has to be disinfected just to be on the safe side. Because I'm concerned not for myself, for the older people that come here. You don't want them catching it. But that's what it was,
All right, mystery solved.
Yeah, I mean, Calvary Cemetery, which is in Queens, off of Queens Boulevard, is one of the largest in the country. And that's one of the original cemeteries in New York, and that's ours. So many people were using the cemetery in March for a place to get out there and walk because they were stuck in the house.
Like
but
Greenwood.
Then we had to close those gates too, because it became the same problem. That how do you keep the funerals safe? How do you keep the workers safe from the general population? And that's what happened. I mean, my uncle passed away, my aunt, I'm sorry, during this, and my cousin couldn't even go to the funeral because she had a compromised immune system. He had a burial all by himself, just his priest, and they did a memorial service for her later on because it's impossible. They couldn't go, the family.
One of the places I visited was the morgue on 30th Street and FDR. You heard about that, right? That's where they park the freezer trucks.
Yeah.
And it turned out that those freezer trucks were never used.
Oh, no. But look at the hospital ship. The hospital ship only had 70 people in it. And it was supposed to hold 1,000.
And Central Park Hospital.
Yeah,
but in the news, they said it was filled to capacity. And it turned out not one person went there.
My news is what I see.
That's why I go out. So I'm like, let me go talk to this guy because I don't believe that shit.
Because you'll hear
because all you would see is a girl with a microphone standing by the cemetery, blah, 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 and you never know the truth.
I know that at White Plains Hospital, they were overwhelmed with them. They had several freezer trucks in at White Plains Hospital over here and the Westchester Medical Center because there's a lot of people. From the Mamaroneck and New Rochelle was the highest cases in this area.
What about Elmer's Hospital in Queens?
Elmer's Hospital, I'm not really sure. That's
the
Chinese,
one in the news.
It's Chinese area, Elmer's, Queens.
Is it? All right.
Yeah.
That's the one that they said is the epicenter of the epicenter. So I went there and I spoke to nurses. I'm from Trinidad originally, and there are a lot of nurses from Trinidad, and I said, are you guys really overwhelmed? And she said, no. Where did you hear that? I come the news. I said, no. So then I spoke to a woman, Eastern European woman, came out, and she heard me asking questions, and she said she's not a medical profession. She works in the finance department, and she said the freezer trucks that is parked that you see on TV were empty. They would never use. And she said she knows because she pays the bills for the morgues. So then I'm like, what's going on?
Well, like I said, that I can't speak for what else happened. All I know here, we were very overwhelmed. We were busy.
All right, you were busy.
Very busy. And we had no choice but to shut down, and we'll shut it down again if we have to. Just for the protection of the workers and the visitors. Because I can't guarantee the visitors' safety if I can't clean the place top and bottom. And so that's why we had to shut down.
So do you see it happening again?
Not so sure. I mean, we have enough equipment for our own people. the masks, respirator, everything that we possibly can need so we can function and work throughout it. But it's a hit or miss. It's a hit or miss. Westchester's doing well. The little surrounding area's doing well with cases. Most of the city has a few hotspots, but it's really not that bad. It's just other parts of the country. Other parts of the country that have a lot of, you know, and surprisingly how densely populated this area is that we're not really too bad. I mean, I work in this area. I live up in Poughkeepsie, and I see 99% of the people are just being smart. You know, being a little smart. You know, just maintain some distance. You know, protect your family, protect yourself. You know, I contribute to my local restaurants through takeout that I always went to. Make sure that I'm still involved. I still, instead of going, I take the food home. What's the big deal? Still enjoying it. You know, just protect your family. You know. But there's your explanation for that, okay?
Thank you. Mystery solved.
You're welcome. There you go. Well, you have a good day.
Thanks for chatting.
You're welcome.
It's like,
No,
shouldn't the
that's what-
cemetery be busy like
Yeah,
that?
we do about 12 burials a month here. We did 58 in April.
But your gates were closed.
But the funerals were coming in. I opened the gates for the funerals only, and the families for the funerals, and we closed them behind us. And so we were here working every day. We're doing 3 or 4 burials a day, but no visitors. No
You were
visitors.
hiding then.
No visitors.
I didn't see any activity at all.
We were horrendous.
All
It was
right, that's
horrendous.
that was
No,
my
no.
question.
Oh, I see what you're saying. No. We were here. The gates were closed. There was no visitation allowed through the whole
Right.
month of April and most of May.